with case study 1. Based on the article above, Malaysia will see economic growth in the fourth quarter of 2020 until 2021, which the country's GDP expanded by 3.1% after returning to growth in the fourth quarter. This is proven by 5.6% decline in Malaysia's GDP in 2020. The economy fell by 0.5% in the first quarter of 2021, before increasing by 16.1% in the second quarter, falling by 4.5% in the third quarter, and growing by 3.1% at the end of the fourth quarter. Following this, the total inflation rate increased from 2.2% until 3.2% as a direct result of the higher cost and disability to better enable society to acquire certain product and service. In 2022, economists predict that Malaysia's GDP will grow by between 5.5% and 6.5%. Since the government of Malaysia wants to reopen the country borders, this will make it easier for export and import activity through global trades, which can help stop Malaysia's economy from falling further because of the COVID-19 epidemics. Next, case study 2. The graph of Malaysian GDP shows that from 2018 until 2019, it decreased until it was almost zero, and from 2020 until it reached a negative value before increasing once more in 2021. The percentage rate changed from year to year because of the many factors that influence its increase and decrease. Then, out of all the part production, service received the biggest percent, which is 57.5%, while construction received the lowest percent, which is 3.4%. Next, imports in 2021 received a large percent, which is 11.7% in the third quarter and 14.6% in the fourth quarter. In order for the national income to keep growing, the government must continue to create demand for the production and expenditure. Next, we can see the graph here. The pace of the business cycle shown in figure 1 is contractions. Malaysian GDP has decreased during this phase. However, it will increase the next year. This is because of a market surplus brought on by a step decrease in the percentage of demand for goods and service. Due to the market large excess supplies, the price being offered is quite low. One economic policy that government should implement for every place is fiscal policy. This is because this policy relates to the employment of government expenditures and tax policy to influence the economic condition. This strategy involves increasing government expenditure and lowering taxations. So here I will explain about the role of fiscal policy. Everything in this situation depends on the government's ability to normalize economic growth. This policy can encourage business to expand and customers to buy more things on the market since they have more money. This is just because both government spending and tax rate have an impact on total expenditure. If government expenditure increases, then aggregate expenditure will also increase, while if the tax rates increase, then aggregate expenditure will decrease. As a result, the government must apply this fiscal policy to increase and stabilize economic growth.
I'm Aina Afika and represent the solution of case study 3, which is measuring national output. First, what is GDP or Gross Domestic Product? GDP can be defined as the total market value of final goods and services produced by the factors of production in a country over a given period of time. Next, based on the data given, we can use expenditure approach to measure the GDP. That is because national income can obtain by adding all the expenditure on goods and service in a year based on 4 economic sectors, which are private consumption, C, investment, I, government expenditure, G, and net export, X minus M. The other approach we can use to calculate national income are product approach, where can be defined by adding the value of all the final goods and service generated by all economic sector like primary sector, secondary sector, and tertiary sector. Next, income approach by adding all the income earned by households in exchange for the factors of production during a period. The answer to the calculation of gross domestic product 2021 at market price is RM 1373.8 billion, where the formula is equal to primary sector plus secondary sector plus tertiary sector. Based on the data provided, economic sector are taken from agriculture to service. Second calculation, gross national product JNP at market price equal to GDP at market price plus net factor income is RM 1333.8 billion. Next, RM 1322.5 billion of JNP at factor cost, where we have to subtract between JNP market price and indirect tax plus subsidy. Lastly, national income, where the answer is same with gross national product at factor cost because there is no depreciation. This is the whole calculation for 5 years. As we can see that the gross domestic product growth rate has decreased from year to year, where the growth rate between 2017 to 2018 was 5.84% and decreased to 2.5% in the year between 2019 to 2020. Next, based on the national income table, the figure represents the nominal value because the data in terms of real price exists at the time, while if the real value, it refers to the amount that has been adjusted for inflation. For the last question, 3 problems that may occur when calculating national income. First, double counting. In order to avoid double counting, gross national product should only include in the market value of final goods. Second, false in information, which often happen in industry where entrepreneur and other self-employed individuals often reduce their income to avoid paying excessive taxes. Lastly, the lack of data to analyze the data. This is because we need the latest and more advanced technology to calculate large volume of data.
Case study 4, aggregate expenditure and equilibrium. The answer for find the value of national taxes. 2500 minus 1000 minus 2250 equal negative 0.75t. T equal negative 0.75 divide by negative 750. T equal RM 1000 billion. For the find consumption function, C equal 1000 plus 0.75 YD. Find the saving function, S equal negative 1000 plus 1 minus 0.25 YD. S equal negative 1000 plus 0.75 YD. The next one is aggregate demand and supply. 1000 plus 0.75 YD plus 1000 equal Y. Y equal 8000. For leakage and injection approach, 1000 plus 1000 equal negative 1000 plus 0.25 YD plus 1000. Y equal 8000. Based on the above statement, find the new equilibrium of national income. Y equal 1000 plus 0.75 YD. Investment 1000 bracket 1000 times 0.05% equal RM 950 billion. Government RM 1000 plus RM 10 billion equal RM 1010 billion. Export RM 105 billion. New expenditure Y equal C plus I plus G bracket X $M. And then the answer is 3260 plus 0.17, 5 YD. The last one is, according the instruction, nation is experiencing an economic issue related to the inflationary gap when the point Y equal AD crosses with the point C plus I plus G plus bracket X minus M at the point E. The real national income is at equilibrium point RM3260 billion. Full employment equilibrium point is RM 58,000 billion. And then the government must implement constructionary fiscal policy in order to solve the issue. The government has two ways to solve the problem, which is cut spending, taxes.
Hello, I'm Zulekha here. Okay, now let me explain for the case study question 5. Question 5a. Calculate the national income in second quarter 2021. There are information given. C equal to 600 plus 0.85 YD. I equal to 15B. X minus M equal to 24B. And T equal to 15B. So, after that, we include the information given in the formula Y equal to C plus I plus X minus M. So, Y equal to 600 plus 0.85 YD plus 15 plus 24. So, we know YD equal to Y minus T. So, include T with 15. So, became Y equal to 626.25 plus 0.85 Y. And then, the result became Y equal to RM 4,175 billion. Okay, as for question 5b, by comparing the national income in 2020 and first quarter 2021, explain Malaysia economy condition in second quarter 2021. For there are information given. So the answer is national income in the second quarter of 2021 is 4,175 billion, was lower than in 2020 at 7,336.66 billion. This caused economic growth to decrease by 43.09% in the second quarter of 2021 compared to 2020. The national income in the first quarter was 5,365.1 billion, higher than in the second quarter of 1,575 billion in 2021. This results in economic growth declining by 28.18% from the first quarter to the second quarter in 2021. Right now, we go to the question 5c. If the projected value of national income in second quarter is 7,000 billion, C1, does Malaysia face the economic problem? Explain. So, the answer is, when the national income in the second quarter is 7,000 billion, where the employment level is full, it causes deflationary voids. During deflation, Malaysia experienced a shortage of aggregate expenditure to achieve full employment level. Okay, next, 5C2. Discuss your answer using a graph AE, AD, and ES curve. This is in the graph. This graph shows the balance occurs when the AD curve intersects with ES curve at point E. The P price at the national income of 4,175 billion when the projected value of national income of the full employment level causes the AD curve to shift to the right from AD to ADF. With this, a new balance will occur when the ADP curve intersect with the US curve at the EF point, the P price and the national income of 7,000 billion. As a result, price increase from P to PE and national income increase from 4,175 billion to 7,000 billion. Okay, next, 5C2. Discuss your answer using a graph AE, AD, and ES curve. This is in the graph. This graph shows the balance occurs when the AD curve intersect with ES curve at point E. The P price at the national income of 4,175 billion when the projected value of national income of the full employment level causes the AD curve to shift to the right from AD to ADF. With this, a new balance will occur when the ADP curve intersect with the US curve at the EF point, the P price and the national income of 7,000 billion. As a result, price increase from P To PE, and national income increased from 4,175 billion to 7,000 billion. Okay, next, for the question C. 3. If government use taxes as a fiscal policy tool, explain how it can solve the economic problem. The government needs to lower taxes to household disposable income will increase, discuss aggregate spending to increase, and employment opportunities also increase. Economic growth to rise, national income to rise, and economic recession or employment to overcome. Okay, now we go to the last question based on the situation on above, briefly discuss and illustrated with graph. So, there are our graph.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Asfariza Aini binti Muhammad Arif. My metric number 8282414. Let's continue with case study 6. Based on the figure, inflation in February and March shows a unstable inflation rate in which all sectors show increase, decrease, and static inflation. But overall analysis described the inflation rate as increasing from 0.1% in February to 1.7% in March. Next, type of fiscal and monetary policy used to overcome this situation is contractionary fiscal policy. Contractionary fiscal policy decrease the level of aggregate demand either through cuts in government spending or increase in taxes. Contractionary fiscal policy is most appropriate when an economy is producing above its potential GDP. The second one is expansionary or easy monetary policies refer to government policies that expand the money supplies to stimulate the economy. Based on figure, inflation rate for February 2019 is 0.25%, while for December 2019 is 0.16%. Next, inflation rate for February 2020 is 0, while for April 2020 is 2.73%, and the last one is for July 2020 inflation rate is 1.44%. Economic policy could be used as expansionary fiscal policy because that is happen when the economy is in a recession. Increase in government spending or decrease in taxes will increase AD. The government used expansionary fiscal policy to eliminate recessionary gap. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Nurdini binti Kamarul Zaman and my metric number is 8182819. Today I want to present chapter 6 which is money, demand and the interest rate equilibrium. The question is based on the situation above. Briefly discuss and illustrate with graph. So, the money market equilibrium is reached at point E when the curve money demand equal to money supply at interest rate and the quantity of money. At R1, it shows that money demand is greater than money supply. So, this axis money demand causes people to sell stock. This process will continue until it reaches equilibrium at point E. Next, Y at R2, money supply is greater than money demand, and excess for money supply causes people to buy stock. This BNM lowers interest rates causing the curve to shift from RO to R2. So this process also will continue until it reaches equilibrium at point E. Next, case study 7. The first question is by using business cycle diagram, illustrate the pace of the Malaysian economic situation. Based on the business cycle diagram above, we show that illustration economic situation had decreased from 0.7% to 17.1% and increased back at 60.5% and have inflation at 2.6%. The explain about that pace is firstly the pace of business cycle as contraction. Malaysia's economic output fell during the recession because of various factors in influencing Malaysian GDP growth. Next, productivity reduced until the recession. According to the data shown above, the Malaysian economy contracted 17.1% in the second quarter of 2020 from 0.7% growth in the first quarter. However, the tourism activity was marked to decline and most economic sectors experienced negative growth. While the majority of expenditure components decreased, the unemployment rate increased. So following that, decrease in aggregate income in terms of wages. The third question is state one economic policy that government should implement. One economic policy that government should implement for every pace is expansionary fiscal policy, which uses two strategies or tools to reduce debts and increasing government spending. And the last question is briefly explain the role of suggested economic policy. So the answer for this question, the goal of fiscal policy is to reduce the unemployment issues, and the government can impose expansionary fiscal policy. An increase in government will increase aggregate expenditure. These use two tools such as lowering the tax rate, and the second is increasing government spending. Moreover, the government should exert control over the tax rate as it affects to aggregate expenditure indirectly. So when it's happened, aggregate spending will rise. In addition, the output of production may increase and individual income tax be decreased. Following this, it will increase the YD and consumption, while a decline in business income can rise aggregate expenditure by increased business investment. The demand for workers will also rise. That's all from me. Thank you.